2 more series here in the European region, and we will be finding our final champions here in the online circuit for the summer season before we head into the summer finals. Method Black have secured themselves in the grand final of this final cup. Now we will see who mates them. It's going to be either Change My Mind or Diabolus. Most likely we're going to see more mirrors here, although there is a chance Warwick comes out. He did have a fantastic performance on Friday. I'm Healingstad, I'm your host. We have Ben, Ruki, Supertees, and Zika on the desk, and I mean, I want to get the odds here a little bit. Do we think Warwick comes out, or is it just going to be mirrors? I guess we're going to hop in straight away. Yeah, it's going to be those mirrors. Alec back. He wasn't there on Friday. He was having some lovely caviar. Now he's back, and he isn't done. It's time for dessert, and is Mimpoike on the table?
I don't think Mimpoike is going to be on the table for dessert. And actually, I feel like Change My Mind, they played really well in their previous series, so I think they're fired up. I think they're going to have a good end here. But likewise, I think Diabolus are a little bit hungry after, coming so close in that previous game against Method Black and falling short. We're going to see if they can bounce back from that, or if they're going to be demoralized here and get walked over by Change My Mind. Everybody's split as well on that vote, 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50 vote between these two teams really does show Change My Mind had a good series to start the day. Diabolus, actually, to be honest, we were expecting a little bit more from them. Sure, Game 3 was great, but it was a 3-0 victory for Method Black. Now we get to see how these two teams will match up as we do. I would actually be really curious. I would love to see Change My Mind having a bit of success here, going through to the grand finals, just to really mix things up for the summer finals. I think a lot of us have been counting them out just a little bit since they have been losing these mirrors, but it would be great to see a more evenly fought series between the two teams. It's the first time, or the last time, sorry, we're going to see these two teams for 6-7 weeks before we head into summer.
I can't wait. Let's see what Change My Mind can get done. They had a great first series of the day, and I feel like if they can play as well as they did in that first series against Diabolus, they could definitely take them deep in this series and potentially even get a win. Right now, Alec is under pressure. Temporal Shield trades out with the Iron Bark. That should be enough to stabilize him and keep him healthy. Icy Veins is rolling, but he gets Cyclone. Beautiful Cyclone there by Mimpoike. And if Mimpoike is able to play the way he wants on a good day, he looks so good with those Cyclones, and I think he really can be a playmaker for his team.
But currently in a Ring of Frost, not able to play his character, means that Fried Kitty could be in a lot of trouble. Gladiator Safeguard, where's the Spell Steal? Alec gets interrupted, he's not able to. Buying Fried Kitty enough time to sit comfortably without having to ice block. Now landing crowd control of his own. Asgrath opting to escape from it, which means in about a minute, Acro can line up his blind into a sap along with his Vendetta. And those two cooldowns together are almost certainly going to be an ice block. Change My Mind just need to hold on to that point.
Yep, definitely big opportunities here. But we're going to see Alec now caught up in a Kidney Shot. Frozen Orb connects. There is the Comet Storm as well from Fried Kitty. Alec taking quite a beating here. Mimpoike looking for the Cyclone, gets Counterspell, which means Asgraf is going to look for the Bash after that. Full Polymorph on Acro secured. Mimpoike needs to find the Dispel here. If he can get it, maybe Acro can stop the CC chain, but instead, Mimpoike with expert maneuvers is going to make his way to the opposite side of the map. Fried Kitty, though, dropping quite low here. Double Blink Counterspell secured to shut that down. And now Mimpoike is going for the Hibernate into the Cyclone here. He gets denied on the Hibernate with Asgraf shapeshifting, but he does land the Cyclone. Alec on the back foot, Gladiator Safeguard not available. Alec taking huge damage here, but the Iron Bark from Asgrath should be able to stabilize him in this situation, Adrian.
Yeah, definitely looking good. Full blind onto Mimpoike, Trinkets out. Now we are in a kind of level game to the end. Both mages are sitting on both their ice blocks, so once again, it's kind of like the first game with the Method Black series where both the teams just kind of focus on denying each other rather than going for aggressive plays. That said, Alec with a full counterspell onto Mimpoike here. I'm not sure that's going to pay off too much as the blind is reversed onto Asgraf. Doesn't have that trinket, as you said, so we've got the sap to follow up. There's going to be a nice block respect trade from Alec. I think that's a reasonable play. It was the Vendetta, it was the blind sap. They're going to lose a nice block for it, but they stay ahead in terms of mana. And Diabolus, I still give them a fair shot in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this team has proven themselves time and time again. Let's see what they can get done. Alex trying to control the game, gets the polymorph onto Acro, but unfortunately, there's just no crowd control on Mimpoike. Asgrath gets caught into a bash, Kitty Shot on Alec. He's forced to trade out the Iron Bark to stay alive. Let's see, Fried Kitty blinks over in a defensive position. Mimpoike trades out the Iron Bark, but that fades, and now is a situation where both these teams can start getting aggressive. Maybe they can force out the first ice block of Fried Kitty. Maybe we get the second ice block of Alec. Looks like it's Diabolus who's going to be striking first with a Cyclone on Acro. Fried Kitty and a Kidney Shot, but there's just no damage to follow it up.
No damage, unfortunately, there. Mana slightly in favor of Diabolus, however, Ice Block's in favor of Change My Mind. It's still anyone's game here. 4 minutes in, 1 minute away from dampening. Nixie potentially with the next power play. His Vendetta available. Who is he going to go after? Currently looking like he wants to re-stealth, which could amplify his damage here. With the Garrote Silence, he's going to be doing that on the Fried Kitty, stunning him up immediately after. Minpoike and a Cyclone. Alec looking to try and polymorph Acro. 2 members in crowd control, but they drop the chain. Minpoike escapes. Now with Iron Park active along with Temporal, Fried Kitty more than easily going to recover. However, Vendetta is still rolling. But in the meantime, Change My Mind, secure a counterspell on Asgarath. Unfortunately timed while Alec was Cyclone. Perhaps miscommunication. The Cyclone did deny some of the Temporal Shield effect. Asgarath now bashed into a Cyclone. Changed My Mind, looked to lead an assault. Ice Barrier active from Alec, absorbing a huge amount of damage while his Druid sits through crowd control, but its defense is now over. Gladiator Safeguard procs. Fried Kitty's Poly, he can't spell steal it. Alec gets Cycloned on it instead by Minpoike. However, Cyclone is certainly not free, and it's putting his mana further behind that of Asgarath.
Yeah, definitely could be a win condition here for Diabolus. They need to start forcing out the second ice block here for Alec. If Change My Mind want to have a opportunity to still win this game. They've been doing good with the CCs, but it's expensive. Like you mentioned, full blind on Asgarath gets trinketed out. Alec in big trouble here, very low on HP. Acrolos has the vanish. He's looking for it. He's not going to go for it though. Temporal Shield's going to bounce Alec to full HP, and here's the full pre-Temporal Shield. Fried Kitty should be bouncing up to a reasonable amount of HP right there. Get Cyclone on about 60% though. That was also the Maledict soaking up some of those hits. Fried Kitty goes for the polymorph, actually gets counterspelled even though Asgarath was in Moonkin form. That's a pretty big mistake from Alec, but he does get the polymorph onto Fried Kitty, and he manages to shut him down on that Ring of Frost. As a result, Alex still a little bit behind there, and since Asgarath was caught up in a clone, now Minpoike low Cyclone onto Alec, but he is dropping lower and lower on that mana bar now. Alec going for the Ring of Frost, not going to be able to find it. Minpoike in Moonkin form, so he can get polymorph. Fried Kitty gets Cycloned low, and likewise with Nixie here. Everybody just in CC this game.
Yeah, it's a windy day here in the Grand Arena. Cyclones galore for everyone, seems like. Alec is taking a fair bit of damage though. I think he'd like to be the Cyclone right now with the onslaught targeted toward him. Change My Mind, looking to get aggressive, though Fried Kitty taking the worst of the exchange, quite frankly. And Minpoike, once again, I have to call out his mana. It is certainly a little bit lower. That could be a win condition for Diabolus if they can just keep keeping the damage high, keep Fried Kitty under pressure. We don't have damage meters right now, so I can't exactly see who is topping it, but certainly you would imagine that Alec and Nixie have a lead just based on how much pressure Minpoike's had to deal with. The Innovate is available. Maybe he can top off Fried Kitty a little bit with that one. He'll have access to a lot of free healing. This might be the opportunity for him to press that button. There it is. Innovate, Overgrowth, big heals as Fried Kitty should stabilize.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to be able to, but with no Temporal Shield, no Iron Bark, this is an opportunity. Diabolus, they can get aggressive, but they haven't got a single ice block yet in this game. Right now, Change My Mind, they're looking pretty good. Asgarath's almost completely tapped on mana. The same can be said for Minpoike, but I feel like in this spot, with the offensive and defensive cooldowns Change My Mind have available, they could easily take this game. Let's see what happens. Alec now on a kidney shot. Decent burst damage coming in. Nixie looking to deny with a kidney shot of his own onto Fried Kitty. Nice! You can see Minpoike, he got actually caught into a hibernate, but it broke, unfortunately. Now into a full blind. He trinkets out. Wants to make sure he can keep Fried Kitty alive. He's being a little bit greedy with his Iron Bark. I don't know if he has the mana to use it. Fried Kitty bounces himself up with a Temporal Shield. Minpoike, he's going to be willing to trade on an ice block from Fried Kitty. He's getting a drink. This is so big for Change My Mind.
It is so big, trading a full mana bar for an ice block, half mana bar for no ice block. It's a great deal for Change My Mind here in game one. If they can get an ice block here from Alec, they Cyclone the Temporal Shield, deny some heals from the innovative Asgarath, his free healing totally removed there. Alec, though, will have 2 ice blocks as well as Fried Kitty. Asgarath jumps in to secure crowd control first. They need momentum if they're going to try and get an advantage here. So far behind on mana. Now counterspelled, likely having to ice block. Gladiator's Maledict absorbing a huge amount of heals, dispelled off by Asgarath, but there's nothing left. Alec has to block. Diabolus are desperate in this position. Perhaps they have to go after Acro. They're 1 ice block behind, half a mana bar behind, 23% dampening in, and all they've got left is Vendetta and a smoke bomb. Perhaps they go after Minpoike, punish him for his aggressive positioning. It looks like Acro is the target of choice. Nixie managing to bait out Iron Bark of Minpoike, so now they can stay on target. However, Alec is falling behind. He's going to break out of the stun and try to make a getaway here with Acro in pursuit. Now Cycloned. Asgrath trying to stall as much as possible, but still absolutely no mana remaining for him. Asgrath trying to jump in for crowd control. Minpoike jumps away. Also, Minpoike potentially going to be trying to get a drink at some point. Asgrath is just chasing him down. Fried Kitty trying to catch him. Not able to. Asgrath Cyclone instead, and then runs into the Ring of Frost. Now Alec with Temporal rolling. That's his only way of staying alive at the moment. If he has to overlap the ice block with it, that would be devastating. However, I think he's going to have to. The crowd control is just endless.
Big mistake there from Asgarath. And what is a Cyclone Minpoike? That would have been an ice block, but I think Asgarath, he might still be a Cyclone. I think.
Yeah, he's not moving.
Asgarath is just.
He's tapped out of this one, it looks like. We'll have to clarify with our admins what's gone on there. Asgraf very much not moving his character. Of course, if he did disconnect, then the players are responsible for their own internet, and that would still be a victory for Change My Mind. But I gotta say, Change My Mind had a huge lead in that.
I feel like Change My Mind, we can't take anything away from them, even if Asgraf did manage to, have problems. Change My Mind, they played that one really well.
Yeah.
They deserve that win.
Yeah, no, certainly. They had a huge mana lead off of Minpoike's drink. Really nice play from Minpoike. They didn't force a single ice block, and quite frankly, I'm not really sure where to put this one, but Change My Mind, they've had a really good day here. They beat Wildcard Gaming super convincingly. Now, even in that first game, they looked really good against Diabolus.
Absolutely. So far, they've been having a stellar day, and I think that Change My Mind, they could easily make it to the finals and be that team that took Method Black to Game 5 in those mirrors. I really like what Fried Kitty was going for here with that Ring of Frost, but Asgarath, I think he trinketed out of that Ring of Frost, out of the Cyclone, and walked into the Ring of Frost. Then he got Cycloned low, and then this Cyclone onto Alec, I wasn't a big fan of. I think Fried Kitty and Minpoike just having a little bit of miscommunication with that one, and I'm not sure if Asgrath just decided to alt F4 right there after that, or if he got DC'd, but definitely didn't look good for Diabolus. Definitely, I mean, Acro still had most of his defense, and Fried Kitty obviously had everything left, and they also didn't have a mana lead, so can't take anything away, like you guys mentioned. Change My Mind. That was their game.
Yeah, certainly it was one of those situations where, I mean, we'll confirm from the admins what happened because we can't communicate with the players directly, but I gotta say, if I was Asgraf in that situation, I might have pulled the cord because it was just such a dire one. Obviously, he's not doing that because you don't gain anything from it. It's still going to be a victory to Change My Mind either way, but that game was so far in their lead, and there wasn't really a single opening for Diabolus. They never got a swap to Minpoike, which is something we've seen before. They didn't get a single ice block from Fried Kitty. Quite frankly, Change My Mind are changing my mind about them once again, and they're doing really well here. Maybe Warwick should come in.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is one of the things.
Yeah,
this is one of the things about Change My Mind. On a good day, they look as good, if not better, than everyone else. It's just the problem with their team is they're just not consistent. Today might be their day, and I feel like if they have a day like this at the summer finals, they could easily take the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really crazy. Bear in mind, like, BlizzCon is so competitive this year, right? We've got 3 teams that have already qualified: Cloud9, the boys on points, and Method Black on points. But we saw at the spring finals, Diabolus almost pulling through. If they had that performance repeated at summer, they would go. Change My Mind as well. They just came out huge on LAN, and Minpoike is one of these players that, I mean, we can have some criticism of him, but there's a reason he's been in the scene for 7-8 years in Europe, just dominating. This guy, when he catches fire, when he turns online, he really does show up, and Change My Mind, they're looking good for the grand final here.
Yep, Change My Mind have definitely come to play. It's going to be the final cup, so it's their last opportunity to debut and show what they've got on the tournament stage before the summer finals, and they're certainly performing well. Hopefully Diabolus can get back into the second game. Hopefully it was maybe just a case of angry overreactions.
I mean, maybe. I think he probably just disconnected, right?
Yeah, like, maybe.
I think he'll be fine.
I think the speculation is a little too much right
now.
I
was joking when I said that. For clarification, I don't actually think he pulled the plug on the game. I mean, they just lost 3-0 to Method Black. Surely he would have already done it in that situation, but
I mean, did leave very fast that last game.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Let's cut the conspiracies. I know we're in North America, but we don't need to go into that right now. It's going to be the mirror match once again.
That's
Warwick
supposed to mean.
I don't know.
He's back pretty quickly here, Adrian. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what to do with my desk right now, guys.
Internet issues, you know, they usually don't get resolved that quickly, so I'm just throwing it out there, you know.
What are you throwing out there? What are you proposing happens, Eco?
I'm just saying maybe his emotions got the better of him. He thought Alec didn't have a nice block, and he decided to, you know, just alt F4.
Okay. I disagree.
That's how I alt F4. Because
That's
I
an
have
interesting
really
way.
big hands, so.
What would make you alt F4 out of curiosity? Is that something to do with me
you
not
ever
healing
alt
you?
F4?
Or
Probably playing against Venruki.
playing against Venruki?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
against
He did get the
Well.
better of you in the duel tournament, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It was close, okay.
It was close. It was close. Anyways, I don't want to go too low.
They're putting us together.
I know.
You know what?
People-
we're
yeah.
like Ip Man, okay? We don't talk about our practice that happens behind
Yeah,
closed
behind
doors.
closed doors, our practice, you know.
What happens behind closed doors?
Exactly. It's,
All right.
it's only you guys that try to start drama between us, but us bakers will never be separated.
There you go. Changed my mind. Not being separated either. They're 1-0 up in the series. Diabolus, on the meantime, they have the opportunity to bounce back here. We're going to have Alec and Nixie and Asgraf. You know, we've been complimenting these guys on their mirror endlessly, basically. So close against Method Black constantly, but Changed My Mind are showing up here today, and they're looking to go through to the grand final.
All right, let's see if they can do it here on Ashamane's Fall. Both mages in center field generating icicles on each other with Frostbolt as the rogues try to find each other or the opposing restoration druids. Both Asgrath and Minpoike, I believe, have secured combat. So it is the rogues that are currently only invisible to each other. Asgrath adding in some extra damage, though, with that Lunar Strike, managing to get Ice Barrier from Fried Kitty, although now Fried Kitty responding with some decent damage. Nixie trying to make a choice as to whether or not he should stay back with Asgrath and prevent Acro from his start. Acro going to cheap shot up the healer, then get cheap shot himself. So Nixie can disengage all of the initial crowd control with that line of play. Both mages in a kidney shot and a blind used very early on onto Asgrath. He is going to trinket that, but into a counter spell. Well done by Fried Kitty. That could net them a lot of momentum off the back of that extra crowd control. Although, as it ends, Temporal Shield goes off along with a gigantic Swift Mend. Still crowd control engaged, but unfortunately dropped. Now Fried Kitty on the back foot. Minpoike cycloned, and this could be an opportunity to push for a block. Gladiator safeguard as soon as Alec gets out of this stun. He's going to be able to steal that likely. Not using it just yet, maybe trying to wait for it until he can't spell steal it back, but as Minpoike gets cheap shot for a moment, Fried Kitty is inevitably forced into his ice block and a lead for Diabolus.
Yeah, and the Fried Kitty actually blinked out of line of sight there. Acrolls did shut that setup down, and Minpoike had his Iron Bark, so a bit unfortunate with that line of sight there, but I think he could have actually held on to his ice block if he had positioned a little bit differently. And now Fried Kitty going to be caught up in a kidney shot, and we got to commend Fried Kitty as well. He's using his Cold Snap immediately. Unlike some of the other mages that we've been seeing in this tournament, and full Cyclone onto Nixie. Minpoike looking for the play, gets the bash, goes for the Polymorph Cyclone there. Minpoike cancels his Cyclone because Fried Kitty communicated that he would be able to land that poly, so nicely done there by Fried Kitty and Minpoike. Nixie getting in between them there, throwing out a blind. Minpoike trinkets out of that, continues to chain, double Cyclone. Now he's going to look to Cyclone Alec low. Smoke Bomb gets dropped by Acro, and Fried Kitty with the Kleptomania. Nice kidney shot here, which means Alec can actually Klepto back if he has it. I'm not sure. Looks like Alec is going to be able to stabilize in this situation. Nicely positioned here, avoiding Minpoike's Cyclones on low HP. Acro now with the Vanish, looking to set up a Ring of Frost. Polymorph onto Nixie, re-polymorph onto Nixie. And if Minpoike could swap that, Fried Kitty could go for a re-polymorph. No, I believe Asgrath was in Moonkin form, so Alec, though, doing a good job here, dragging Acro behind the pillar, dropping in a Frost Nova, forces out his Cloak of Shadows offensively, and then pre-temporals the kidney shot. Alec, with expert defense, should be able to reverse the situation with this Ring of Frost, and now Fried Kitty's in trouble.
Yep, he is in a little bit of trouble here, though the mana is definitely in favor of Change My Mind. So if they can keep sustaining, then they're going to be okay. Maldic absorbs so much of the healing. I can't believe an ice block there. He does end up ice blocking. Damage coming in from Askaraf, actually. Very nice from Diabolus. Certainly game 2, they're bouncing back 2 ice blocks down. offensive blind from Acrolaws. He's not going for a defensive play here, not respecting the fact that Fried Kitty has 0 ice blocks remaining. That could come back to bite them as we see low cyclones landing onto Fried Kitty. Asgraf has done such a good job in this game, and it's Diabolus' time to show off as they are by far in the lead, I think it's fair to say, in this game.
Yeah, things are looking really good at this point, but there's still a mana lead for Change My Mind. If they can hold on, if Minpoike can keep Fried Kitty alive, maybe that's a win condition for them. We'll have to see. Minpoike looking for a Cyclone and unable to find it. Now finding it onto Nixie. Asgrath, I think he's trying to sneak away for a drink. He's repositioning, dispels Nixie. He's in a good position right now. Kidney shot on Alec. This is a huge hit here from Diabolus. Asgrath, does he have to use the Iron Bark? He's being greedy, not using it just yet. Finds a Cyclone on Minpoike, and now it's Fried Kitty that's in trouble. He uses the Temporal Shield. He needs to buy a little bit more time. I think the Gladiator Safeguard will buy him enough time for Temporal Shield to heal him up. But a Cyclone slows down the heals. Now Minpoike looking for a Cyclone of his own. Finds it on Asgrath. Kidney shot onto Alec. Changed my mind. They need to try to get the first ice block, but the Temporal Shield from Alec, preemptive on that kidney shot, should be enough to keep him alive.
Might not be. Vendetta's rolling, just fading now. Unfortunate there for Acro. He's going to go for a sap out of the Ring of Frost and try to force the issue. Trying to get the first ice block from Alec. Acro has got amazing crowd control. If they do ultimately get it, it will be off the back of his crowd control. Unfortunately, unable to. Iron Bark, maybe they will. Iron Bark, not enough. Insane damage from Fried Kitty. They do manage to at least keep themselves in the game. One ice block behind at this point, but with Iron Bark available, Minpoike can deny one more kill. He needs to make sure that he lines that up with Nixie's Vendetta. Nixie in stealth at the moment, stunning Minpoike, setting up the team for crowd control. Alec gets follow-up, Acro's in a Cyclone. It's 3-on-1, and there are no ice blocks for another minute. Temporal Shield needs to be enough, but they're racing against that clock to just outright kill him, and they do kill him through the Temporal Shield. Diabolus with domination in Game 2.
Yeah, certainly after we were so complimentary of Change My Mind in Game 1, you know, holding on to ice blocks, basically doing everything right. This game was the polar opposite, and it really does go to show how much momentum can swing in these Rogue Mage mirrors. Diabolus able to tie it up.
Yeah, beautiful game by Diabolus. It felt like they were in the lead throughout the entire game, and eventually they were able to close it out. So nicely done by them, and you know, that's what's impressive about these guys. They can go, you know, 0-4 in a row, but then they'll still, you know, find motivation and keep going and, you know, turn the next series on its head. So really nice to see these guys come back in this fashion, and that was a beautiful sap there by Acro, but time and time again, they just did a great job kind of reversing the pressure in this situation. Alec using his first ice block 5 minutes into the game. Fried Kitty doesn't have any ice blocks remaining at this point in time, and that was the Icy Veins of Fried Kitty. Alec, of course, has his Icy Veins now, and they're going to be pouncing back with that. They get the Cyclones, and they get the follow-up CC here. Nixie gets the full Sheep Shot into Ring of Frost, full Cyclone onto Acros, clean setup onto Fried Kitty, Trinket Temporal Shield, but it's not going to be enough here. Maledicts connect as well, a lot of damage, and Temporal Shield bounces him up to about half, but it's not going to be enough, and he is ultimately going to go down. Beautiful CC there by Asgrath, and it's going to net them the win.
Yeah, and when we see those crowd control chains, you know, we talked about Method Black having a 1 minute plus crowd control chain. Here, Diabolus able to take over the game. Fire with fire, frost with frost. 1-1 it stands between Change My Mind and Diabolus. We're hopping straight to game here between Change My Mind and Diabolus. The Rogue Mage Druid mirrors. It's always so fun to see these Rogue Mages going at it. Who will be the best? Nixie, Alec, Acrolaws, and Fried Kitty duke it out for a chance again at Method Black.
Yeah, like you said, these games have been good so far. I mean, we're tied up 1-1 between Change My Mind and Diabolus. Change My Mind have struggled in the Rogue Mage Druid mirrors in the past. We'll have to see if all that hard work and sort of practice and wargaming against Method Black really will pay off. If they can beat Diabolus, things will be looking good for them. If not, I really worry about Change My Mind moving into the summer finals. If they can't win against these Rogue Mage Druid teams, I feel like they are really going to struggle.
See if Change My Mind can up the ante here on Tolvaron Arena as the gates are about to open. Curious to see if they mix up their strategies. We've seen basically every game be a mage race, but in the past, the Rogues and the Druids have been the targets. So I am curious to see if the strategies get mixed up here towards the rest of the series, or if it's just been played out so many times in skirmishes that the mage is the best target overall in the mirror. But definitely still some surprises. left available, left on the table in this matchup. So far, the mages just going to be slapping each other with ice while Nixie and Acro are in stealth. And Poke gets counterspelled, and that is going to trigger Nixie to attack right away. Acro looking to defuse that initial assault, but Fried Kitty under heavy fire.
Yeah, and Asgard is actually trying to sit through this blind here. Gonna see how that works out for him. He gets sapped, he trinkets out of the sap. Acro actually stayed for a second there trying to sap his trinket. Could not get that one though. And Acro is just gonna sit in stealth, wait for the next setup here, waiting for those stun diminishing returns onto Asgarath, waiting for Fried Kitty to be able to go for that sheep shot, Ring of Frost combo, or for Mimpoike. He actually gets a sap on Asgarath. Nicely done by Acro, and now they're gonna pounce with that. But the problem is they don't have any preemptive damage here onto Alex, so I think Alex should just be able to maybe survive through the situation anyway. But Nixie with a defensive blind and actually a lot of damage here onto Alex. There is the ice barrier on about 4%, 5%, 25% HP, and he gets cycloned on that safeguard proc. Ice barrier is well committed, and he misses the Ring of Frost onto Mimpoike there. Quite unfortunate for Diabolus, and he also takes the shadow side, so Alex is taking 5% increased damage right now. This game is just not going his way so far.
Yeah, but despite that, he got to 100% health. That's kind of crazy stuff coming in there from Diabolus. Huge heals from Asgarath. I really felt like they were behind. You know, it was a fantastic sap play, but Alex able to recover from it. He did have to trade out his safeguard, but still holds on to all of his ice blocks. Iron Bark now from Asgarath preemptively on the crowd control. Nothing to follow up. He actually backfires it over onto Mimpoike. Can they follow up crowd control? Good sheep onto Acro. If he times it perfectly, Alec would be able to land it, but unable to find. Now both the teams kind of equalizing. Mana still in favor of Diabolus as Game 3 continues here. The bigger map certainly looking harder to force cooldowns for both sides.
Yep. And we'll have to see. Smoke Bomb drops out as Acro looking to get aggressive onto Alec. Fried Kitty with this Frozen Orb, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, massive damage. But the Temporal Shield should bounce him back to full. Alec fully recovers with that defensive cooldown. Right now, in terms of mana, changed my mind. They are way behind. This is not the position you want to be in. Alex sneaking in, a blink counterspell, massive damage on Fried Kitty. This is a big kidney shot attempt here. This could easily be the first ice block. Fried Kitty faking the interrupt, gets the polymorph onto Nixie, looking for another one. And should, with these polymorphs, be able to slow down the damage of Nixie and Alec enough that Mimpoike can recover. And change my mind, although they don't have a mana lead, they do manage to hold on and keep both those precious ice blocks.
All right, changed my mind. Took game 1, but Diabolus shut them out in game 2. And so far in a commanding position for game 3 as well. Mimpoike Cyclone, Fried Kitty stunned up, Acro polyed. Dispelled though in between the crowd control, a bit of a misstep, but it may not matter as the Ring of Frost lands. Fried Kitty's in a lot of trouble, he's on the run. Big Star Surge from Asgarath. I love Asgarath adding in some extra damage with the Lunar Strikes and the Star Surges that you get from that balance affinity. Now cycloning up Fried Kitty at low health. If there's any crowd control from Mimpoike, it could be an ice block. Looks like he is able to stabilize with the Iron Park. Stabilize, maybe not the right word. Maybe just dying anyway. Ice block looking like it's going to be necessary here. Fried Kitty going for a Frost Nova. Nixie, Cloak of Shadows aggressively. He wants this ice block. Star Surge in from Asgard. Are they really not going to get the ice block? Despite all of this damage committed, finally getting the first ice block, and Diabolus with the lead.
Yeah, I gotta say, Asgard, for the last 2 minutes or so, has just been playing phenomenally, completely perfect. He got a cheap shot, and then before Mimpoike could finish the Cyclone, out of that, he got the bash, reversed the pressure, got the low Cyclones, but in the midst of things, Alec actually in an ice block here because of that Ring of Frost landing onto Asgard. You also want to say, Alec, timing the Ring of Frost out of a Cyclone is not the easiest thing to do when you have a rogue and a mage trying to stop you as well, so definitely a big factor to why they were able to get that ice block, but changed my mind. They were able to tie that block lead up here. Now Fried Kitty in a smoke bomb, Alec getting cycloned on low HP, Mimpoike now cycloned as well, but I think that the next attack is actually going to be deadly here over onto Alec. Fried Kitty should be able to recover in this situation, both through it low on mana here. We're going to see Mimpoike, if he decides to go for a drink. Asgard actually sitting down for a drink right now. Mimpoike forced to push forward, try to shut that down, but he's not going to be able to find it, and Asgraf is going to come back with about 80% mana. Now Minpoike has to try to get an ice block at the back of this, otherwise they're going to be massively behind here.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this Mighty Bash from Minpoike wasn't so good either. He tried to punish the drink, but of course Asgraf, as soon as he stands up there, is just going to trade out the Iron Bark to recover anyways. They're not going to be able to find more damage, looks like. Maledict's coming in, Asgraf doing a good job keeping his team stable. He has the huge mana lead, and assuming they can keep this going, Diabolus should be able to win the game.
Yeah, and we'll see. Kitty shot on Alec. What's he going to do? Uses his every man for himself to get out of it, but there's still big burst. Fried Kitty, does he have the spell steal? If he can get the Gladiator Safeguard, it's going to be big, but no, Nixie reverses the pressure. Smoke Bomb drops down by Acro, and a Cyclone on Alec. And I feel like that was a bit mistimed Cyclone right there. There might have been an opportunity, but I guess Fried Kitty really didn't have too much damage, so you can't blame Minpoike for going for that play. But all these Cyclones incoming, Minpoike is almost completely tapped on mana. Needs to try to find an opportunity to drink. He might be able to do so, but no, unfortunately for Minpoike, Alex shuts that down with the Blizzard really well timed. The Diabolus have been doing a really good job tracking Minpoike, shutting down the drinks. However, Alec could be forced into his first ice block. No, it's the Temporal Shield once again, saving the day, allowing Alec to hold on to that ice block.
Close call, but significant mana lead now for Diabolus, and I'm thinking they're likely getting a second ice block here shortly. Fried Kitty trying to hold out. Gladiator Safeguard has procced, and he's managed to recover on the back of Minpoike's Iron Bark. But at one point, is Minpoike going to be able to drink? He needs to regenerate mana. Alec snipes him. He's not going to be able to drop combat too easily if Alec has his eyes on him. So Minpoike is going to have to heal his mage with absolutely no mana remaining. I don't think that you can heal with absolutely no mana. Maybe you can. Omen of Clarity proccing from Minpoike, but it's not like he's getting another one. Fried Kitty likely having to block on 10%. Minpoike has to drink, but Nixie sees him. He's running him down right now in stealth, looking for the Fan of Knives to find him, and still has no mana. At this point, I don't even think you need to crowd control Minpoike. I think you just maximize your damage on Fried Kitty and push him over. Minpoike trying to get a Cyclone on Asgrath for his team to have an opportunity, but Asgrath jumps away and max ranges the crowd control effect. Alec blinks in, polymorphing Acro. Minpoike gets stunned up. Alec looking to follow up with crowd control. Asgrath looking to switch the Cyclone. It's 3-on-0 basically. Star Surge is incoming from Asgrath. He gets interrupted, but he immediately goes to Lunar Strikes, and those Lunar Strikes are going to add just enough damage for Diabolus to put the game over the edge and push them to match point.
Yep, certainly they've been getting better and better in this series, Diabolus, with huge mana advantages and able to pull through in Game 3. Tolbaron was the map choice from Change My Mind, though ultimately they do fall down, and once again it's looking like Diabolus will get that rematch against Method Black.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way, and a lot of it was at the back of Asgraf's drinks. He just picks really good times to drink, kind of turn the map on its head. I feel like the smaller maps kind of favor Change My Mind more because they seem to be the more kind of aggressive team, whereas Diabolus, they aren't afraid to just, you know, throw out the Cyclone and then go and drink and just play for the longer game. Even at the very start of the beginning of that game when Acro got that sap, Nixie just threw out his blind, you know, on Acro to prevent Alec from falling behind. So they're definitely not afraid to do that. And in this situation, of course, Minpoike is completely tapped, and Asgrath, he is still on about 40-50% mana, so he's doing great. Asgrath ranging that Cyclone, and of course here comes the CC chain. Minpoike gets the regrowth, tops off Fried Kitty, and then he gets Sheep Shot because Nixie got the spell on that polymorph. Ring of Frost gets secured, and I gotta say Alec plays this last part of the game beautifully. Look at Fried Kitty, he has his counterspell right there. Alec fake casts, actually no, Fried Kitty counterspells Asgrath on his Cyclone on Acro there, so Alec just able to secure that DR polymorph and win them the game. So a bit of a mistake there from Fried Kitty as well.
Yeah, potentially both of these teams kind of going at it. We see the Rogue Mages, of course. Bear in mind, guys, we're going to be playing this series, then the Grand Finals in Europe, then we'll head over to North America. North America, their Rogue Mage Druid team was actually eliminated yesterday since Nuts was unable to play, so we're going to see, you know, the boys, Method Orange running some of those more cleavy compositions, but in Europe it very much has been a battle of these Rogue Mage Druids. Method Black sitting in the upper finals, and I mean, for Change My Mind, this is a bit worrisome because one of the things we've talked about with them is not only are they playing the Rogue Mage Druid, they've been playing it the entire year, Sid, and for them to now be struggling in these mirrors as they seem to be consistently, it doesn't bode well because if the meta changes, it's probably not good for them, but equally if it doesn't look like they'll win the summer finals.
I feel like the entirety of spring season we were saying, Change My Mind, if it's ever a Rogue Mage meta, they're the best at it and they're going to be excelling. And that was all of spring we were saying that. Now it actually is a Rogue Mage Druid meta. And they're beating pretty much every other team, but they're losing in the mirrors. So perhaps we weren't even 100% correct in our assessment for the spring season. Apparently Diabolus and Method Black were keeping up their Rogue Mage to a polished level. Hook Point going to be locked in here for Change My Mind. A very close quartered map. Not a great map for drinking. Maybe they're sort of gauging the drink attempts from Asgrath and saying that perhaps they're better at finding drinks, so go to Hook Point, no one drinks, and we can outplay them. If that happens, it's definitely a risky choice when you're facing elimination to go to Hook Point, though.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, we've seen games where Mimpoike's, popped off in game 2. I think it was Acrolaws who came in with a stellar sap. Alex somehow able to hold on to the ice block there. So we know that these guys can pop off and go for some big carry plays, but equally, the same can be said of Asgrath and Nixie. They even proved it almost in the 2v2 against Waz.
I mean, these guys have been stellar. I mean, when we talk about Diabolus, I feel like these 3 people in particular, they don't really get as much credit as they really should. I feel like Nixie, Asgrath, Alec, they've been so consistent. Maybe not necessarily making the flashiest plays, but they really are consistent. They play at that high level over and over and over, and I don't know, I feel like they've always done such a good job. Nixie, Asgrath really holding it down, and then of course Alec just such a solid mage for them to have on their side, and that's why they do so well in these mirrors. They just manage to, sort of adapt, evolve. They play the consistent, patient game. They can also play the all-in strategies. Originally, people were afraid of them for their sort of druid all-ins, but it seems like now this consistent strategy of just training down the mage, it gives your team a lot more control. And I feel like if you're not on the mage, it is way more risky for your team. Things can spiral out of control really quickly if a mage is just able to spam out as many frost bolts as possible. We'll have to see what they can get done in this game. Diabolus, Change My Mind right now. It is match point for Change My Mind. In game number 1, it was such a dominating performance from Change My Mind. Fried Kitty didn't even have to use a single ice block. Really looked nice.
Yep, it's certainly looking good though for Diabolus. Change My Mind. This would be their final appearance here at the Arena World Championship. If they can win, or if they do end up losing this game, we won't see them until the Summer Finals in 7 weeks, so they'll have some time to prepare, but they won't be featured in the Grand Finals. Diabolus looking fantastic, as if they will get a rematch against Method Black.
Diabolus looking for their rematch against Method Black. Perhaps they won't get clean swept in the Grand Finals this time around. Otherwise, Method Black have just asserted utter dominance over the European region, moving to the Summer Finals, and I'm not sure who is going to be able to stop them. This is looking like their season. We see crowd control engaged by Acro. Where's the follow-up? Fried Kitty tries to snipe him with a Ring of Frost through the wall, but Nixie intercepts, denying the crowd control. It's now Mpoike potentially going into a Cyclone. He Shadow Meld re-stealths it, but now won't have Shadow Meld later into a blind. Temporal traded from both sides here, allowing each mage to recover. However, it was not the Iron Bark of Mpoike. He is going to be that one cooldown ahead for the Vendetta that is available. Acro has pulled the trinket from Asgrath, setting up a cheap shot for a potential poly from Fried Kitty. He's double blinking in for it. This is a very aggressive stance from Change My Mind. Of course, selecting Hook Point does mean aggression as they look to push for the first ice block.
Yep, and here we go. Full Ring of Frost was secured. Chained with the smoke bomb from Acro. I do believe that there's no safeguard right now onto Alec. He gets Cyclone on low HP. Mpoike really looking to tear in here. Asgrath gets counterspelled. The safeguard did actually proc right there, plus an ice barrier, so Alec is just going to be able to recover at the back of that, but now the pressure is getting reversed. Full Ring of Frost secured. Fried Kitty on the back foot, using his Temporal Shield. Full Ray of Frost gets channeled out there. Fried Kitty looking to fake cast Nixie. He gets insta-kick there, and the safeguard is going to proc, get stripped off, and the first ice block of the game forced in favor of Diabolus.
Yep, good start here for Diabolus, able to force Fried Kitty into that ice block. Both healers low on mana. We expected this game to be a little bit more explosive, though certainly Change My Mind have struggled to find early semblances of pressure. Smoke bomb coming in. Fried Kitty could be in a bit of trouble here, though not really too much damage to follow up. Maledict will deny some of the incoming healers. Mimpoike able to dispel that, but a beautiful Cyclone once again. Asgrath taking control of the game. If he has a Mighty Bash from Mimpoike, they could win the game. Acrolaws with a good kick, denying any follow-ups. Nice shutdown from Change My Mind as they look to reverse the pressure onto Alec.
Yeah, but can they do it? I mean, that's the question. Asgrath, he still has the Iron Bark. It just seems like the defense right now from Diabolus is too solid. It's going to be Fried Kitty that gets smoked. Gets interrupted on Frost. I think he might have still been on a hypothermia if he wasn't. That was a really nice interrupt with burst from Diabolus. They lost the first game, and honestly, they came back with a vengeance.
Yes, they did.
Smoke changed my mind in those last 3.
Yeah, that was really dominant performance from Diabolus. We can really see there is a gap here in Europe when it comes to it. It seems like Method Black's on the top. Diabolus, we thought they were pretty close, though they're slipping slightly behind, but both of those teams seem to be dominating Change My Mind in the mirror.
I'm actually really curious to see what happens now for the rematch in the grand finals, because Diabolus, they were on fire over the last 3 games. If they can sort of ride that momentum, that pressure, they can, you know, sort of bring that to Method Black, maybe they can beat them in a series.
Yeah, definitely. I think Diabolus in general, they have been kind of rivaling Method Black a lot. Like last weekend, we saw them smoke Method Black, and then when it was the grand finals, they got smoked reverse by Method Black. So I feel like now that Method Black won in the upper bracket, maybe Diabolus are just going to win the finals easily. We're going to have to wait and see. But this setup here was really nice. They got the Cyclone low onto Fried Kitty. They get the crowd control here over onto Minpoike, and that counterspell there as well is going to get them so much pressure onto Fried Kitty here. Big damage, and then Askarath gets... I don't know, actually he just gets bashed.
Oh, well, that's going to be it for Change My Mind. We'll see them in 7 weeks when we do go over to the summer finals. Diabolus able to win. They will be playing out in the grand finals. And, I mean, this is the thing. These Rogue Mage Druids, especially Change My Mind and Diabolus, they're very momentum-based teams. Maybe Alec just needed a few warm-up games since, of course, he didn't play on Friday. We'll see if they can do better into Method Black now. Last time these two teams met, it was a 3-0 in favor of Diabolus in the upper finals, followed by a 4-0 in favor of Method Black. Maybe we see the inverse here in this next series, Venruki.